Okay guys, we're back, and I bet you didn't expect us so soon already, but here we are with Ask Me Anything Part 2. This segment is going to include Eddie, because you guys had a lot of questions for Eddie too, so Eddie's gonna help me out this time. Okay, here we go, let's jump right in. So first question, Weight Watcher Tracker. Tell us a little bit about your parents, where they live, etc., how many siblings, also what prompted you to start your YouTube channel. So you guys probably noticed that when I went back to Idaho, I didn't really get any footage of my parents, and I usually get at least one picture, but I didn't even get one picture with them. So my parents are very kind of private people. So they actually live in Idaho, obviously, which is where I grew up, and they have a home in New Mexico as well. Eddie and I will be going to see them in New Mexico for Thanksgiving, so hopefully I can at least get a photo with them so you guys can see how cute they are. I don't know if cute is the word, but you know, they're my parents, so I like them. They're pretty cool. How many siblings? I have one sister. She is about 1.5 years older than me, and she is a physician's assistant here in California. She's married and she has one daughter who is my niece, Karina, who is beautiful. She's in college right now. I believe she's studying to become a vet or a vet tech. I think probably a vet, because why stop at the bottom? These guys don't do that. What prompted you to start your YouTube channel? So after I had already lost my weight and I was at Lifetime, I don't know how, but I stumbled across a Weight Watchers YouTube channel. It was actually Molly from Weight Watchers Wifey, and I watched her for probably a couple months, and then I started adding other Weight Watchers YouTubers to my daily watching schedule, and I really enjoyed the videos. They helped me out a lot, lots of great ideas, lots of great motivation. And so I was like, I could do that. So I know I watched for a couple months because the phone I had at the time was not big enough to accommodate any sort of crazy videos. Like there are so many video clips that I do every day, and I have so many pictures. My phone was constantly full. So I think it was just before Christmas that Eddie got me my new iPhone with major storage. So then I was like, I am gonna do it. I'm gonna go for this. And you guys probably know that I really enjoy helping people, so I like being able to pass on my experience and whatever kind of crazy knowledge I have, which, you know, it's definitely not a tutorial, it's not a do this like me, it's just sharing with you my experiences and how I did it and how I live my life now, today, which probably doesn't work for everyone, but this is how I do it, and it's awesome. It works awesome for me. So that's why I decided to start a YouTube channel, and it's definitely time consuming, but it's also been a lot of fun. I actually enjoy sometimes when I have time, which is pretty much never, but sometimes I enjoy looking back on the old videos and seeing things that Eddie and I have done, like going to San Diego and some of the trips that we went on. All of our Florida trip is completely documented on YouTube, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it can be tiring, and I'm sure Eddie gets tired of being in videos every day. I have literally, since I started this channel on December 28th, 2016, I have uploaded a video every single day except one. There was one day I missed, and I can't remember why, but it was early on. So yeah. Okay, here's where Eddie comes in. Deb S54 says, I think Eddie is a real doll and would love to hear how you met, etc. There's a couple other people that have kind of asked a similar or the same question. Kelly from Freedom in a Budget, how did you and your husband meet, and how did he propose? Charity says, I'm interested to know about you and Eddie's family, how you met, kids, grandkids, etc. And Gail H says, I'd love to know about your family, kids, grandkids. Eddie, how do you guys meet, and how long have you been married? So, do you want to tell how we met, or do you want me to tell?
We were carpooling.
That's right. We were carpooling. And?
That's about it.
That's the short story. So Eddie is actually originally from California, and I moved to California with my ex-husband, who was getting a new job. That's a whole other long story. When I got here, I had a job in one town, and I lived in another town. Eddie had a job in another town. We both lived in the same town, and we both worked in the same town. So Eddie, kind soul that he is, he knew...
Use Julie for the gas money.
He knew that moving here, we did not have a lot of money, and he offered to carpool. I thought he was being super nice, and it turns out he really just wanted my gas money. But that's okay, because it worked out, and we carpooled, and, you know, spending so much time in the car with someone, you really, really get to know them. So we got to be really good friends, and that's how we met. How did he propose?
In the JCPenney parking lot.
Was it JCPenney?
Yes.
It was definitely in the mall. Did you really propose, or?
Nah, let's say I didn't. I just gave you the ring.
So
since we do wedding photography, we had to make our own little story.
What's our story?
That we didn't do anything. We just gave you a ring.
He pretty much did just give me a ring. Like, I think that somehow at some point we had already decided, oh, we're gonna get married. I don't know, it was like a mutual thing. Nobody asked anybody. We're just...
I needed the gas money.
He needed more gas money, so he wanted to suck more gas money out of me. So let's get married. And then we ended up going and looking at rings together, and he bought the ring, and then we walked out of the store, and he just kind of handed it over. Yeah, here you go. So yeah, that was that. Nothing romantic, but you know what, that's okay, because Eddie was such a romantic when we first met. He swept me off my feet, and I guess he used up all his romanticness because it's all gone. Just kidding. Kind of. Okay, next question. I'm interested to know about you and Eddie's family, how you met, kids, grandkids, etc. So Eddie's family, I guess we'll start there. Mine and Eddie's family. So tell us about your family.
We have a cat.
Your family, not our family.
Oh, my dad's passed away. We live with my mom, and I have a daughter that's almost 16. And we have a cat.
And what about Aaron?
Oh, I have a brother. He's 6 years younger.
Oh,
than
that
me.
brother. So he's 6 years younger?
Yes.
So he lives in San Francisco, and we see him like maybe once or twice a year. We do live with Eddie's mother, and his dad unfortunately passed away 2 years, huh? 2 years ago from cancer. So we hate cancer. I think I just told you guys, my parents and one sister. Yeah, so we don't need to go into mine. And our baby, you guys have probably met her, Stanley. If you haven't met her, or if you have, I'm gonna have to insert a picture right now because she's the cutest little daughter I've ever had. Here she is. Okay, next question. Family, kids, grandkids, Eddie, how'd you guys meet? How long have you been married? We've been married for...
A long time.
Do you know the years?
11 years.
11 years. 2012. 2011? Wait, 2006. Oh my gosh. I don't know who I am or where I am. 2006 to 2017. Yeah. Yeah. And do you know our anniversary date?
March 26th, November 18th.
Oh, he's good. November 18th. Okay, no, if I thought about it long enough, I would have said November 18th. Takes me a little bit of time. The March one, I never remember still. So, yeah, that's a long time. So we actually had a little ceremony in San Francisco before we got married. His brother is a minister, right? Is what you would call him. And we went to San Francisco, and he performed a little ceremony for us at one of the parks there. I don't know what park it is. So he did a little ceremony for us, and then in November of the same year, we went back and had a wedding at that same little park with his brother, who still minister, actually married us. So that's our wedding story. We got married in San Francisco. We have some photos with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background, and we had our wedding reception at the Boudin Bakery, which I love to this day. So Eddie's dad actually took our wedding photos, so it was very difficult for Eddie to be on the other side of the camera. And it was kind of interesting though, because Eddie and his dad...
It wasn't very difficult.
Eddie and his dad were both wedding photographers. So Eddie was kind of setting up the shots, but it was interesting because they were kind of feeding off of each other, like they kind of read each other's like body language and stuff, and Eddie just knew where to position, and his dad just knew, I don't know, it was like same mind. They both have the same very, very artistic, very creative mind, so that's where that came from. Okay, how many Antrax Bites wants to know, how many children and grandchildren do you have? Huh?
Did you say anthrax bites?
Antrax Bites. So Ann, I have 2 kids. I have, I guess this question is directed to me personally. I have, my oldest son is Phoenix. He is 23. And my youngest son, Dakota, is having a birthday today. My baby boy is 22 years old. So I have 2 boys, and then I have a stepdaughter who is Eddie's daughter, Abby, who is 15, and she's going to be 16 in January. So they're all growing up. I have 4 grandkids. I can't believe it myself. 4. If you watched my Idaho videos, you probably saw all of them. Let's see, Lily is the oldest, and she's 4. Lily is Phoenix's daughter. Ronnie is the next oldest, and he is 3, and he is Dakota's son. Then comes, I can't ever remember who's older. Oh yeah, Aubrey is older, so the 2 babies are really close in age. Aubrey is the oldest one, and she's a year, and she is Phoenix's daughter. And Jocelyn is the baby of them all, I guess. She's also a year, and she is Dakota's daughter as well. You can tell which kids are Dakota's kids because they're the fat ones, which is super cute when you're little and not so much when you get older. But Dakota was a fat baby, so he passed that along. Okay, Charity wants to know, oh, I already answered this. You and Eddie's family, kids, grandkids? Eddie doesn't have any grandkids yet. Okay, not for a long time. She's still gonna go to college and stuff, so yeah. Okay, Jennifer Gammon, I would love to hear about your kids. So my oldest son, Phoenix, is married to Julie, and they have been married for, I think, at least 6 years, and I think they've been together about 7 years. It's really weird because sometimes we joke that he married his mother. My full name is Juliana, and when I was married to his dad, my name was Juliana Packer. Her full name is Juliana, and now her full name is Juliana Packer. It's also weird because we like a lot of the same things, we enjoy a lot of the same things, we like the same foods. It's really kind of eerie. We get along really well, which is actually very good. But I'll tell you what, the weirdest thing ever was when she showed me her ultrasound, and the name on the ultrasound was Juliana Packer. It was like deja vu. It was very weird. So that's Phoenix, my oldest son, and he and his wife both work in the insurance business for Allstate. So Dakota's girlfriend is Alexis, and they live with his daughter Jocelyn. His oldest son Ronnie lives with his mom, Ronnie's mom, Amory, and they all live in the same town. So Dakota and Alexis, Dakota works right now, he is delivering and installing appliances, and his girlfriend Alexis works as a receptionist at the hospital. So that's what they do. That's what they all do. I don't know what other information you want to know about them, but can you, let's see. Sorry, I got a little lost. I'm a grandma too. This is from Deb S54. I'm a grandma too. Do you have to do long distance grandparenting? Yes, I do. And it's kind of sad, but I don't think the kids mind, but it's sad that they don't know me as well as they know, for example, their grandpa or their other grandparents who live there. So, but it's been really awesome to see. I don't know about the younger kids, and Ronnie probably doesn't know me as well either because I don't get to talk with him as much, but it was so awesome this time to go see Lily, and she knew immediately who I am. She ran to me on the street with her arms wide open, and it was so adorable. She was so excited to see me. So I think just maintaining contact over the year is important, and it's hard for me because I'm super busy, so I do need to do better at that. But we try to do video calls when we can, and we send a lot of pictures back and forth so that they know who I am. And of course, I am the Disney grandma, so I send lots of fun Disney gifts. But I do think that communication is key, but it can be very hard, and I only get to see them all once a year. So maybe next year, I think hopefully they will all get to come visit me, so that will be a twice a year, and that will be nice. But yeah, once a year is hard. Okay, Elizabeth Yates, curious if Eddie earns extra income from his photography and video services. I know he does not have a normal job due to his dialysis and his Disneyland career. And then she said, huh, after that. Just have always wondered if he does that as a side gig. So what do you do, Eddie, and what have you done in the past?
Currently, I get my disability and I go to Disneyland.
Disney career.
Disney career. And I do dialysis.
Yes, and that he does 3 days a week. And I have to say, Eddie has the best attitude about his dialysis, but some days he leaves and he feels great, and other days he leaves and he does not feel good and he could not work. So, sorry, carry on.
So, my very first wedding I shot was 1987. And 1987 to 2008. Photography was a wedding photographer position was off and on. I think 2006 we were doing like 12 weddings, and then the next year we did 24, and the next wedding year we did like 48, and then we went up to like 80 something, and then 2008 was when I quit my full-time job and did the photography full-time.
And what was your full-time job that you quit?
Junk mail manufacturer.
And how long had you worked there?
17 years.
Why did you decide to quit a job after that long?
Somebody told me I should.
Serious question. You wouldn't do it just because I told you to. You're not that dumb.
Because I got to my 17th year anniversary and I got no recognition for any of the time I spent there. And then there was a guy who had only been there for 3 years, but he was a major brown noser, and I was more of the get the work done, who cares about brown nosing and kissing up, because your actual job should represent you, not how well you kiss butt. And that person got a cake, and they got an anniversary card, and they got a gift card. This is why you quit? And up until that point, I was working a lot of hours, and the plant manager had brought in a ping pong table, and he had his buddies going down there. Well, you want me to speed it up? You want me to tell you the truth? It was because I was being screwed over, and the photography business got busier.
So what do you do now in terms of your photography and video services?
I've been shooting Abby's band stuff and shooting stuff at Disneyland for personal use. And
what's your personal use? Eddie has a YouTube channel too. If you guys didn't know that and you want to see some of the things we do from his perspective, it's really interesting to see the things that I film in my perspective versus his perspective. So go check out his channel. It's Eddie Almanza.
Okay.
So what would you like to do with regards to your photography and video services?
Make millions and billions of dollars and not have to actually shoot anything, edit
that would be
anything,
awesome.
see any customers, deal with anybody, and actually not even have to deal with images.
And that's going to happen tomorrow.
No, it won't.
So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Elizabeth. That was the long version, but that was good. Okay, Steph Lehman, I would love to know what your job is at Disney. So I work for attorneys. Oh, your job at Disney?
My job is get to the gate, make sure that the place is still running correctly, and monitor like everybody to make sure everything's going smoothly.
And to have fun.
Oh, that is fun.
I know. He really likes people watching too. So that's Eddie's job at Disney. My job is I actually work for attorneys, and I work in the television animation department. So we do a lot of employment contracts, contracts for the artists and the directors, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you would never think of. I've learned so much about animation since I've worked there. But we also do a lot of intellectual property work as well. So that's based on, you know, if somebody has an idea, who gets the rights to that idea to produce it and get the income from it. So that's what I do at Disney. The basis of what I do is I am at a desk, I answer the telephones, I schedule all the meetings, I do a lot of paperwork, I draft contracts, send out checks, a lot of administrative stuff. So, but I love my job. Disney is super good to its employees. It's a very rewarding, relaxing, and easy job. So I love it. No complaints here. Marlene Charles, I think I heard you say that you homeschool your kids. Can you tell us why, and are you glad you did? Sure. So at the time that I was homeschooling my kids, and even when they were little, I was one of those mothers who always wanted to be home with my kids. I wanted to stay home and raise my kids. So unfortunately, because of our financial circumstances, I wasn't always able to do that. I actually kind of went in 2-year cycles. So I would have a job for a couple years, and then the need and the want to be home with my kids would get so great that I would quit and go home and be with my kids. And then we would be able to sustain that for a couple of years, and then the finances just got too tight, and I was like, okay, I need to be responsible and go get a job. So then I would be away from my kids for another couple of years. So as they got older, I'm a very much black and white person, so I felt that being home, and this is not judgmental to anyone, but I felt that being home and being a stay-at-home mom was not enough, that I had to contribute more. So I decided that in order to, I don't know, give more to my family, be more for them, be a better mom, be a better wife, I don't know. I felt that it was not good enough to stay home. I had to stay home and homeschool, because I never bite off a little bit. I always bite off way more than I can chew. So that's basically why I did. And then there were also some at the time, a few maybe, I don't want to say religious beliefs, because I'm not a religious person, but a few Christian beliefs to why we wanted to homeschool our kids. So we thought it would be a better environment for them, and that we could kind of shield them a little bit from the world. And let me tell you, that did not happen at all. So I actually homeschooled them for a couple years, and I'm glad actually that they did go back to school eventually, because I found out that I am not a good teacher, not good. So I really cherish the time I spent with them, though. I was with them 24/7 during those years, and I loved it. And I feel like we had such a great bond during that time, and that has kind of carried over into our relationship now. So even though we've been through so much, we all have just such a good relationship, and I know that a lot of it stems from that time. So I definitely do not regret that decision at all, and I'm so blessed that I was able to do that for a short time frame. So, this is a tough one. Pat Kimbrell wants to know, how did you get the long scar on your hand? So I'm just going to be flat out honest, and I do not tell this to a lot of people, but when you guys know already that I had an eating disorder, and when I was young in high school and maybe just a bit past high school, I harmed myself. I was a cutter, and that is one particular wound that did not heal properly. So yeah, I did that to myself, and I definitely regret that. And I would say, if you guys know anyone in your life who cuts or self-harms in any way, that person needs a lot of help. So I'm just putting that out there. That's where that nasty scar came from. Okay, I know you and Eddie, this is from Cooking with Sonia. I know you and Eddie have done several different things when it comes to various work, mostly food related. You've done cake pops and selling those, and Eddie did something as well. That was his photography work. I was wondering if you are now doing what you want to do, or do you have a goal for yourself, job or career-wise? If this isn't it, what would it be? Do you see yourself pushing for it, or just being happy with the job you have now? You know what? I am totally not a huge career aspirations kind of person. I love my job, and I actually feel like I was always meant to be a paperwork office person, because here's a funny story. When I was little, my dad used to get a lot of magazine subscriptions, like Field and Stream. There was a
Guns and Bullets.
No, but there was a hunting one.
Knives and...
Oh, and National Geographic we used to get. Anyway, we used to get all these magazine subscriptions. When you get magazines, they have the little card inserts where, they want you to resubscribe or whatever, or do a gift subscription, and it has a place for your name and address and everything. So, and also inside the magazine itself, there would be forms you could fill out to order stuff, like if you wanted to order fishing poles or whatever. Nerd that I am, I collected all of those little postcard inserts, and I also clipped out all of the order forms, and I would have them in a neat little stack on a little desk, and I would fill them all out, because that was my job. I was doing a job. So, I mean, right from the get-go, I was pretending to be an office person, so I feel like I was always meant to be an office person, and I actually really enjoy office work a lot. So I do feel right now I am definitely in the position that I should be for the time being. My ultimate goal is retirement, and if I could retire tomorrow, I totally would. So what did I answer the question?
We used to do catering.
Oh, so my goal as far as my job is, I would like to retire in New Mexico. So I would love to get an office job, an administrative job in New Mexico, so I can work towards that goal and just retire. I want to retire already. And what did you say? We used to what?
Cater.
Oh yeah, we used to have a bakery business, birthdays, weddings, cake pops, whatever. Delivery, all kinds of, it was crazy. And in conjunction of that, we also did catering. So we would deliver food for holidays, and then we did a lot of catered events, like big meals. I think the biggest one we did was for like 150 people, and that was just you and I, huh? We did have, they provided servers, so, but it was fun. It was fun times, but it was really hard working for yourself, because you literally work 24 hours a day, and you work hard for every single dime, especially in the food industry. So
you can never escape.
You can never escape. You can go outside your home, because if your business is home based, but when you walk outside the home too, you're constantly thinking, okay, marketing, what do I need to do? What customers do I need to get back to? What do I need to plan for to get this cake completed on time? It's always, it's constant. So it's very, very hard work, but I'm actually glad we did it, so we had the opportunity to see the working world from both sides. So I'm very happy to be I'm not a salaried employee, but hourly. Yeah, I'm very happy to give all of that higher up responsibility to somebody else. Okay, Antrex Bites. Does Eddie still work? And if so, what does he do, or is he happily retired?
Happily retired.
Very happily. That's probably why I want to retire like tomorrow, because he's making me jealous. What kind of training did you do for your job with Weight Watchers? There's a couple questions here. So the training I did for my job with Weight Watchers, first of all, you have to have gone through the Weight Watchers program yourself, and you have to have lost at least 5 pounds. So there was that. And then once I decided I wanted to be a Weight Watchers receptionist and I was hired, I had to do a lot of online training, a lot of watching videos and taking tests. Of course, I had to do a couple of interviews and stuff. And I did have a couple of in the meeting room type of training situations where I was, shown how to use the computer program and how to greet members and how to weigh them in confidentially and what awards to give and how to track everything. So that was pretty much it, though. A lot of online training and then some in-person sessions, and here I am, and I love it. I still love it. How far do you travel every day to get to work, and is the traffic really as bad as is rumored? Yes. Do you think the traffic is bad in LA?
It depends.
Like right now, we're going 5 miles an hour. So yes, it's bad. And this is a Saturday afternoon. So in the mornings can be horrible, and in the evenings too. So that's why I choose to work out most days after work so that I can avoid at least some of the traffic. And then in the mornings, it takes forever. So I think my work is about 17 miles away, and it takes about 40 to 45 minutes to get there during rush hour. If Eddie's driving like on his own during the day, I think the fastest he gets here is like 35 minutes, right?
25.
Oh, 25. See, I can never make that. And especially if I'm driving on my own in the morning at the time I'm supposed to be there and I can't take the carpool lane, that's even worse. So I feel like I spend a big part of my life in the car. Okay, Lydia Gunther wants to know, have you ever been in an earthquake? Yes. And the first earthquake I experienced was obviously in California, and I was at Starbucks. So I was like, how perfect is this? My favorite place in the world at that time. And I'm feeling an earthquake. So that was my first earthquake, and it was really, really weird. I think I've only felt one other that I can remember since then. And that was on the second story of an office building. And that was scary because it was rolling and it was weird. So only 2 that I recall or even remember. If there were others, they were very mild. Okay, last question. I am sorry this is so long, but you guys wanted to know, so I hope you watched all the way through to the end. The last question is from Enza Gardetti. Hi, Enza, my friend. Enza, question for you. It might be a little personal, might not. Just curious, Eddie looks really laid back. How does he react when you have a gain? Does he show his disappointment? How can one deal with family members who are not as supportive when they have a bad week? So I'm going to answer that a little bit first, and then I'm going to let Eddie answer your question. So first of all, Eddie is really laid back, and I'm very thankful and very lucky for that because we almost never argue. We have our moments. What?
Go on.
He's very laid back, and he puts up with a lot from me. But how does he react when I have a gain? I think no, he's just more sympathetic towards me and my feelings. So he would actually rather have me probably 15 to 20 pounds heavier, which is so weird to me. But so yeah, he doesn't get upset. He doesn't care what I weigh, honestly.
So long as you stay lifetime member and it doesn't cost.
Yeah, he really just doesn't want to have to pay. So maybe if I gained enough that I had to pay money, then he might be a little more upset. But no, when I have a gain, he either doesn't care or he feels sympathetic towards my feelings about the gain. So like, he's not disappointed at all.
What's the new
Okay, so for you. So how do you react when I have a gain? Do you show disappointment? And how can someone deal with family members who are not supportive when they have a bad week?
I guess you would have to turn to your Weight Watchers family if you're not getting the support at home.
So what, you just gonna ignore the family members at home? I actually really agree.
I don't think this is my question.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was, but now that I'm thinking about it, I actually agree with what he just said, though. If you're not getting support at home, then definitely come to this YouTube community. Even more so than that, though, I have always recommended meetings. If you have a regular in-person meeting that you can go to and a leader that you can talk with and friends in that meeting, that's going to be your best area of support. And if you do go to meetings, remember that you can go to more than one meeting a day. Not a day, a week. You can go to more than one meeting a week. You can only weigh in once a week, but you can go to more than one meeting. So if you're having a rough week and you need that extra support, go to different meetings, see what the different leaders are like, get as much support as you can. And of course, you can always come here to my YouTube channel, of course. A lot of you guys know how to contact me if you need the extra support. But yeah, Eddie's right. Really go to your Weight Watchers people or maybe other family members outside of your immediate family who are more supportive. So if you have someone within your immediate family who's not supportive and is maybe, number one, if they're saying mean things or insensitive things or verbally not being supportive, then I would just really stop mentioning a lot of the weight or Weight Watchers or food stuff around them, because if that's the only feedback that they can give you, you know, that's them and they're in their own little world. You need to protect yourself and be in your Weight Watchers world and make your world positive. So if that's all the feedback they can give you, stop talking about it and talk about it instead with people who can support you more positively. If they're not giving you any kind of verbal feedback and they're just not engaged with you and they're not, you know, suggesting recipes or making Weight Watchers friendly meals for you, or, you know, not being proactively supportive, then that's a different story. Maybe you could talk about it a little bit with them and say, you know, maybe offer some suggestions. It would be really helpful for me if you could, you know, help with blah, blah, blah. I know when I first started Weight Watchers, Eddie was not totally on board with making a lot of low points meals, and it's been 2 years, and now he's so good about it. There's a lot of meals that we do where we'll have like a higher point version and a lower point version. But he's really good about knowing, especially there are days when I tell him I really have to eat really low points today for like whatever reason. And so he'll be totally on board with that. But it did take some time. So if your support person is just not actively helping you, then maybe you could suggest some ways like, oh, would you be open to like going for a walk with me in the evenings? Or what if we had like broccoli in addition to our fried chicken sometimes, you know, something like that. Just maybe have suggestions for how these people can be more supportive. What?
I would say, why don't you have broccoli for dinner tonight?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
or here's an idea. If someone's not supporting you in the meal, maybe you should suggest that they have something that they really want earlier in the daytime, like for lunch, so that their meal could be low point for you in the evening.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways that you can...
I can eat 2 hamburgers in the afternoon and then come home and have like something low.
We do that sometimes, and Eddie kind of knows that. Yeah, he doesn't eat 2 hamburgers. But Eddie kind of knows if he wants to go eat fast food, like, it's not that I don't like fast food, but I could eat a lot of fast food and then I would feel so horrible after. I just don't even want to go there. So if he wants to go eat fast food, I don't care, but he pretty much does it during the day when I'm at work. So then that kind of leaves the door open for dinner. We have like a lean protein. He loves chicken, and then our sides, we eat a lot of the same sides. So, but I feel like he kind of gets the whole, I don't know, corn dog cravings. He like all the Disney food he wants to eat. He kind of gets his fill when I'm not around, and that's fine for me because it's easier for me. So I hope that answered your question, Enza, and I hope I answered all of your guys' questions. If you have watched this far, this is 39 minutes, and I just don't have the time to edit, and I want to get this up because I know it's been ages since I promised this. So if you watched all the way until the end, kudos to you. That's right, congratulations. You have endured 40 minutes of the Eddie and Julie show.
You don't need to put a thumbs up this time.
You don't have to put a thumbs up, but I would really like it if you did, or at least if you didn't put a thumbs down. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I do have to say thank you to all of my regular viewers. You guys are so awesome and so supportive and encouraging. I probably wouldn't be doing as well as I do without you. So as much as I encourage you, I get it right back from you. So thank you to everyone. You guys are the best. Bye.